Welcome to the Fret Frontier. Today we're going to have a lot of fun with Paint It Black. This is our last tutorial in the series of how to play Paint It Black on your baritone ukulele. In our last episode, we figured out where we wanted to place these harmonized components so that we could turn section B into a little improvised run of bass notes down the neck, adding in a harmonized note on the second string. So we have... and we play them as quarter notes. So now to get that sound, that escalated sound of we're going to add our finger picking pattern in. So here we're focusing a little bit on our right hand. Let's start off there. This is a very consistent pattern. We have the thumb on the fourth string, index finger on the second string, and second finger on the first string. We're just doing 4, 2, 1, 4, 2, 1, 4, 2, 1, 4, 2, 1. Let's speed it up. Now the way we count these are going to be triplets. So for every quarter note, we want to play this entire pattern. 1, 2, 3, 4. Triplet, 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 triplet. So how do we get that faster? So every time your foot hits the floor, your thumb should be back on this bass note. And in between the time you hit the bass note, these other two fingers have to, in a nice even sequence, play this second string and first string. And we're using the syllables of the word triplet to help us break that up into even variations of that one beat. Triplet, 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 triplet. Hard to say that fast though. How do you get that coordination between what you're thinking and what your hand's doing? A way I would suggest is to take syllables that you can say even faster. Now, like harmonica players will do this, break up beats, right, when they have airflow going through an instrument going across reeds, and come up with a sound like tuckada, 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 tuckada. That's something you can do pretty quickly. Come up with a little sound. You're just flicking your tongue silently while you're doing this, creating that little metronome subdivision beat in between every time your foot goes down on the floor. Tuckada, 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 tuckada. And it gives you something that you can hear in your mind that you can translate or transfer to your fingers so that you're not trying to think of something or say something really fast that is already a challenge, like the word or the idea of triplet. Okay, so I hope that helps you out a little bit. The other thing that you can think about is just the physical motion of rolling forward. So it's all open strings. We're rolling forward, almost like if you have them all together and you release them one at a time. Okay, so those are ways to think about getting that sound. You don't want it to be so stark, right? That's why that little sound like tuckada, tuckada, tuckada helps you not stop right when you get back to the setup. Tuckada, 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 tuckada. You want to keep that going and rolling consistently and smoothly. So we'll start off slowly. We have this finger picking pattern. 4, 2, 1 for every beat. So we're going to take our quarter notes. We're going to move down what we learned in the last episode, adding this finger picking pattern in. Count to 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Tuckada, 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 tuckada. If you prefer triplet, 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 triplet. 4th now we're going to tack on the ending, which is also the intro. So the intro and the outro are the same little piece, and it sounds like this. Okay, that's how we begin and that's how we end. Now there's two ways of accomplishing that sound. One that's on your handout is the one that I prefer, and that's with this this bar chord format. But if you don't like bar chords and you want to keep this pretty much the way it's been up to this point, where you're just really having to work on your finger picking and moving around, playing pretty much a open voicing styling, I'll also show you that easier way, but it won't be on your handouts. So let's start with what's on your handout. We have the first finger doing the second fret. We're going to add one finger at a time to shape this chord. We'll have this chord at the end. And so when you jump onto it, you can have just the first finger there. You don't have to have the whole bar. And that's something to keep in mind when you're playing songs that seem pretty complex. The fingers, even in bar chords, they only need to be there when you need to strike the string with that, with this hand. So always keep that in mind when you're putting it together. So if you have a chord that looks complicated like this, we won't start putting it together down here, right? Because that's not the first string we're going to hit. And by the time we get our fingers all in place like this, time has gone by and it doesn't sound smooth. We want to do it from the string we're going to hit first. So we've got this first finger on the second fret, and the next note that's going to be played is the fourth fret of the third string. 2, 4, 2, 4, 2, 4, 2, 4. Those are the frets I'm talking about there. The next interval, we're sticking with that second fret on that fourth string, and now our little finger needs to be on the fifth fret of the second string. Same pattern of eighth notes, and you can do your index finger and thumb together. And then the last interval, we're adding the third finger on the third fret, okay? And then we come back to the second string and the fourth string. When we finally end, it's just going to be a whole note on this second fret, fourth string. Now the reason I like to do it with the bar chord is I can get a little bit more control over how long the notes ring out. Okay, so you'll notice I'm doing muting on that, and I feel like I can control it better when I have these fingers holding on here, because I can release them as I go along, and I don't have anything else ringing out. And by releasing them, I mean I am no longer pressing, so I've got that first finger's always got to be pressing. The whole bar doesn't have to be pressing. I just have to hold this second fret on the fourth string, and these other fingers, although they're laying on the string, I can relax that finger so that after I'm done with that string, so I've got this going, you don't hear any residual, or you won't hear any residual humming from this string because I'm no longer holding it hard enough for it to be able to ring out. I've relaxed that finger. Also, it's good for my hand, right? I'm not going to feel exhausted at the end because I've been holding that whole bar chord. But that takes some control to work on, and you might not be interested in spending all that time on the intro and outro. At this time, you can play this same thing using open notes. So if we are going to play the same passage, we can get this note that's on the fourth fret of this string, right? That's just a B, and that's the open second string. So I can get that same sound. Okay, and then I can get the same sound that I was getting on the fifth fret of the second string by using the open first string. Okay, and then naturally the G, that third fret, that stays the same. End it with that open string. Okay, so that's another way to play it, and you are free to use either one or learn them both, and then you just have a way of thinking about them, right? They're the same notes. So now we're going to go do that a little bit faster, and we will add the outro on, and that's where we go back to eighth notes. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so your handout for this episode shows you section A with the variation, the repeat when you're coming around for the second time. Section B with these triplets replacing each one of the quarter notes, and your outro. Remember to use your outro as the intro when you are playing along with the first episode in this series. That's where I play this end to end. If you don't want to use that more difficult bar chord ending, use open strings instead. You can just go back to that and write in the notes that you want to use. And it'll sound great whichever way you play it. Even when the strings ring out, it sounds beautiful. And you'll sound great playing it. Thanks for spending time with me.